to me, I think I always look for stories that are relatable, but ultimately about something bigger than the story itself. And this just happened to be the perfect story in that way. It's something that no matter what you're going through, I think you can relate to.
I think it's a real honor to be here and to have this happen. It's kind of surreal for me. But Jake, he's awesome. I never seen any of his movies. No, I'm just kidding. I've probably seen all of his movies throughout the time, from City Slickers. I'm a big fan of him, and then when I heard that he was playing me, I was like, what? Like, whoa. I was like, that's crazy. And then I was like, he doesn't look anything like me. He's way better looking. So it's just been a great journey, just getting to know him, and he's a cool dude, very genuine, nice guy.
Well, I was really intimidated, to meet Jeff. I think there's no way that any of us could really match, the reality of what he and Aaron and his family went through in this journey. So I think there was a sense for me, inevitably always, of fraudulence. No matter how hard we tried, we'd only get so far. We share a real similar sense of humor, even though he's a lot funnier than I am. And Jeff's been through so much in his life, and he's come through, and this past year has been an amazing year for him, and I've just been honored to be there, through the tough questions.
Aaron Hurley, who I played in the film, was extremely generous in involving me in her life and bringing me in and answering my questions as well, and just relating as two young women, specific time in our lives. Boston was an incredible place to film. I felt like this real open-heartedness in us being there and us doing these difficult things in public spaces, like doing the marathon scene and having all these extras there for 6 hours with us while we were running this last little bit, and having, extras running with me the whole time who wouldn't stop, who didn't stop for 6 hours, who were so committed to this story and wanted it to be authentic. And I think that really is Boston. Like, it felt like the kind of the spirit of the city was so alive in those moments.
I really wanted to meet Patty, but it proved to be quite tricky to pin her down, which will tell you a little bit. He's smiling already. Which will tell you a little bit about her character, and it's not to say she was running away from none of the family has run away. They've trusted us completely to take the story and let it unfold, which I think it does in a very, very beautiful way. But I didn't get to meet Patty until quite late on in the filming, and that was okay by me. I still got a great deal from meeting her, and I found her generous with her time when we were there, and sort of astonished actually at how she appears. I use that word advisedly, because there's a lot going on, but she completely held it together for us for a couple of hours, and for that I'm very grateful.
Last night was amazing, seeing it with like 2,000, 2,500 people, hearing all the reactions, and when people are crying, I'm crying. You hear people laugh and crack up, great jokes, and that's pretty much my life in a nutshell. You cry, you laugh, and you keep on moving forward. Seeing the movie, it brings me back. Obviously, the bombing's hard, and seeing myself ripped apart on the ground like that, and seeing other people around me, it does bring me back. And how Dave did it, like sequenced it three times throughout the film, pretty brilliant. It's really cool how he did it, and definitely the hardest part is reliving the relationship in the hospital scenes with Aaron and I, and how close we got during that position. And it's hard to watch, but it's really good. It brings me back to like I was there, and I hope it does that for everybody. It gives someone a little piece of my story to take home with them. And I get that a lot. People come up to me and they're like, "Man, that was me. I would never do that. I couldn't be where you are right now." And I'm like, don't ever say that. It's like, yeah, you definitely could. It's just you don't really, when you're in this position, you don't have a choice. You're not going to sit home and not walk and not leave your house. I mean, as much as I want to sometimes, I can't. And I have a daughter now that's 3 and a dog that's 4. And as much as I would like to sit around and not do anything, they're in my face. And they're like, "Yep, let's go." So everyone can get through anything, and it's hard. Life isn't easy, and that's what this movie shows. It's not perfect. Yeah, I got kicked off my own set that day.
Did you? And David, why did you kick him off the set?
No, it wasn't. It was
No?
just some kid. He was like, "You got to leave," and I was like, "What, me?" Yeah. But
For some logistical reason and the availability of the stadium, and that we were going to incorporate footage from an actual arena and ask the crowd to stay for what we were going to recreate.
It was because we didn't know whether the Bruins were going to make the playoffs.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
didn't know if the Bruins were going to make the playoffs.
So it was at the end of their season. We didn't know if they were going to make the playoffs. We'd have a little more flexibility. But we actually rushed into production to be able to make that game. Did one of the biggest set pieces day one of the movie, which is ill-advised, but it ended up working out great for us. And it was.
But we weren't sure that people were going to stay. That was the other thing. I feel like everybody, Nicholas Stern, our incredible line producer, was so worried because we had all took a gamble. We had all said, like, okay, we're going to do these scenes, the scene in the elevator, and we're going to do the scene when we go out on the ice, but we need all these extras. But we had put out all these radio calls, and we'd put out all these things to say, we're going to do this, and it's Jeff's story, and will you stay? And then the Bruins lost. And so I remember Nicholas Stern sort of having an internal freak out, like in the corner, like hoping that, and we didn't know if everyone was going to stay. And sure enough, they announced that we were going to film, and they said, this is a story, Jeff Bauman's story. They're filming this movie, and 3/4 of the stadium stayed. And they all came down for it, and I remember them screaming, at first, USA, right? They were screaming that. They wouldn't stop. They turned down the lights. And I don't know about you, Tatiana, but that was the moment where there was Kevin and the real Kevin and some of Jeff's family, and I think Kat was there too, because you're in the shot, Kat. I saw that last night because the screen was so big. I was like, that's Kat, remember? And you were like, really? It was this moment where you started to realize the wave that you were about to ride, the duty that I had to play that part, and the people that he had touched. And that was that moment. It was like we had felt that a little bit through pre-production. We had spent a lot of time in preparation, but it wasn't until that moment. I remember turning to my left as you were wheeling me out, and there was Kevin up there, and there were tears in his eyes. And I was like, it's not really me. It's not Jeff, Kevin.
Kev's
No,
really
but
emotional.
it was an incredible moment. It was an incredible moment. This moment of doubt, just overwhelmed by this love for him and for the city, and I think that sort of just launched us into that day, into the whole rest of the shoot. It was pretty amazing.
As you pointed out, I don't like being called a hero. In my eyes, there's heroes that I look up to. The people that saved my life, my caretakers, people at Boston Medical Center, my surgeon, the people that pulled me off that ground, got me out of there, Carlos, those are my heroes. The police, the paramedics, those are my heroes, and those are the true heroes. As Dave did this movie, Prince Avalanche. It's about Texas and wildfires and loss. People lost their homes, and I lost something, but I also, my heroes picked me up. Erin, Tatiana played Erin, my wife, the love of my life. She's my hero. Just being there with me, going through all that in the hospital. She's my hero. My mom's my hero. Miranda did great with my mom and what she did and how rough they are and the triangle between us three, me sitting in the back of the car. That really happened. That brought me back. I'm yelling at both of them, trying to calm them both down, and it's like we'd be in my room sleeping, and my mom's banging on the door, like hammered, and it's like she's still my hero, but Mike, go to bed. It's like there's heroes all around, and I just don't like being called it, but this movie covers everything. It covers loss, covers people picking each other up. It's amazing.
I remember I was texting with you, and I said, what shoes were you wearing that day? And I remember, I
sent you a picture.
You sent me a picture. We couldn't really remember the exact pants, but they were your favorite pants.
That's the hardest thing, because when the bomb went off, I saw my feet in my shoes, and he's asking me about it, and I have to tell him because I want it to be authentic.
It's that moment where you go, well, what exactly are we doing? What are we trying to get to? And it became because it's a very important thing that be right to me. And that moment was that one. I have to say that was probably this weird, mundane moment that you was very tough to ask.
And my favorite pair of pants, my $20 chinos from Costco. It's like,
and we looked everywhere for those pants after that. I mean, literally everywhere. And we got as close as we could to the color and to all those things. I think that was the moment where I realized how brave he was. It's not just all the things that we think about. It's the ability to go to places like that, to go back and to understand that and to face that and to resolve that. Is like, again, talking about what strength is, like, it's in those moments. It's in those little moments.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey